The story starts with Jin Young-soon, who works in a delivery job in 1986. She talks about how people treat pigs and humans. She's strong and happy, and her clients are nice. Choi Ha-sik, who raises pigs and likes her, wants to propose to her, but her boss interrupts. Chaos ensues when a pig runs off with the engagement ring, but they manage to get it back, and she agrees to marry Ha-sik. Ha-sik and Young-soon live a good life and look forward to their first child. Young-soon keeps offering to work, like building a new pig house or making banners for the Olympics torch relay, even though she's pregnant. One day, people from Yongra Construction show up to tear down their pig farm because it's in the way of the torch relay route, which would be embarrassing on a global scale. Ha-sik is furious, and his boss tries to bribe him with American cigarettes, but he doesn't agree. That night, their farm is set on fire by the construction company's men. The trial goes against Ha-sik because the boss bribes locals to say the farm had problems, and the fire was probably an accident. However, Ha-sik investigates the boss, Director Song, and gets a recording of a local person confessing that Yongra threatened them. He takes this evidence to prosecutor Oh and pays him a lot of money from his savings for their unborn child. As he leaves, we see that Oh is also working with Song and informs him. When Ha-sik is going home, Song's men capture and hang him, making it look like suicide. Young-soon doesn't believe it. She confronts Oh, but he claims the last time he saw Ha-sik, he was drunk and returns Ha-sik's money. Young-soon is heartbroken but decides to live for her child to make sure they don't face the same hardships. She moves to a new village, starts a pig farm, and studies the law. The locals are surprised to see a pig farm in their clean village and come with pitchforks to destroy it. However, when they see the owner is a pregnant woman, the local mothers start to bond. But they threaten her again. She stands her ground and points out the laws they are breaking. A fight breaks out. Young-soon and another pregnant local woman go into labor at the same time. Young-soon has a son, Kang-ho, while the local woman, Jeumja, has a daughter, Mi-ju. Sung-ae, one of the young mothers, helps the two pregnant women and carries her baby son, Sam-sik, on her back. She tells him that the babies are his younger siblings. The villagers all come together to help, and they become friends, allowing Young-soon to keep her pig farm. A few years later, Mi-ju and Kang-ho are friends, but Sam-sik bullies Kang-ho, even though Mi-ju tries to stop him. Kang-ho can't take it anymore and swears at Sam-sik. When they return home, Young-soon punishes Kang-ho for swearing by hitting him. She says he should quietly endure the bullying because he's meant to become a prosecutor and live a good life. She won't let him go on school picnics or eat to his full so he can study all the time. Kang-ho writes that she's a bad mother. Meanwhile, Jeumja's husband mistreats her, and Mi-ju is angry. While her older sisters play, she confronts her father, who is dancing at a club with a young girl with fancy nails. Later, she notices her mother's nails are bare and dirty, so she colors them with a red pen. She continues to do this into her teenage years, which frustrates her mother. On their shared birthday, Mi-ju sneaks some gimbaps from her kitchen, a snack kids usually eat on picnics. She hides in the school's supply closet, where Kang-ho often studies, and surprises him. As they sit and eat, Sam-sik, who only sees Kang-ho going inside, decides to play a prank and locks the closet from the outside. Inside, Kang-ho stops eating a lot, explaining his mother's belief that if he gets full, he'll get sleepy and won't be able to study. Mi-ju finds it ridiculous, and Kang-ho agrees. He used to believe people were fated for one thing, but after seeing other students change their dreams constantly, he felt silly about himself. Mi-ju asks about his dream, and he says he doesn't know. They realize they are locked in when they try to leave. At home, Young-soon lovingly prepares dinner and a cake for Kang-ho, waiting all night. At midnight, she gets worried and asks around the village. The village chief's wife thinks they may have run off together, which makes things worse. Finally, when they go to Sam-sik's house, he hears that Mi-ju is missing, and he cries and rushes to free her. Inside the closet, Kang-ho is busy studying for their midterms the next day, while Mi-ju tries to get his attention. As he brushes her off, she eats candy and plays with a hula hoop. However, she starts choking on the candy, and he has to rush to help her using the Heimlich maneuver. As luck would have it, Sam-sik and the other locals unlock the closet just as Kang-ho is helping Mi-ju with the Heimlich maneuver. Sam-sik feels jealous, thinking Kang-ho is hugging Mi-ju, while the village chief's wife jokes that at least they are dressed. Young-soon, on the other hand, worries that Kang-ho has missed his extra classes and picks up his books. She notices that the notebook he was studying in is actually filled with drawings of Mi-ju. She doesn't say anything and leaves, while Sam-sik's mother scolds him for the prank. Back at home, Kang-ho sees the food laid out for him but tells his mother that he already ate gimbap. Young-sun simply tells him to keep studying and not eat more so he doesn't get too full. The scene shifts to Young-sun dropping Kang-ho off for his law exam and spending the day at Hae-sik's grave, rooting for her son. Meanwhile, Mi-ju, who is now dating Kang-ho, stops by to give him gifts and offer encouragement. She even paints one of his nails yellow to match hers, and he finds it endearing. However, just before she leaves, a bike hits Mi-ju. A worried Kang-ho rushes her to the hospital, causing him to miss his exam. As Mi-ju regains consciousness, she's scared for him, but he kisses her and reassures her, saying he can take the exam next year. Back at home, his mother is furious and tells him not to waste his life. Kang-ho says he has no life, and she believes he must become a prosecutor to escape their difficult circumstances. He thinks she wants him to be a prosecutor not to help the vulnerable, but so that she won't be vulnerable anymore. He storms into his room, looking at his painted nail, and tears up. The story then cuts to Young-sun praying for Kang-ho's success in his ongoing trial. He has become a ruthless prosecutor who appears to be working with Director Song, who has framed the defendant in the case. Young-sun keeps trying to call Kang-ho, but he's too busy dealing with negative news about Director Song. He's ready to present the evidence, a mobile phone with a recording that could clear Mr. Park's name. But he hesitates when Song talks about passing his business to Kang-ho as his heir. It's revealed that Kang-ho receives bribes from Song, like a car and a house. Kang-ho gets nervous when Song doesn't let him leave, thinking he's discovered the mobile, but the director just wants to play catch. Despite his leg injury, he enjoys baseball because he doesn't have to run if he can hit a home run. Kang-ho realizes this is how Song turned Younger Construction into Woobiak Group. Song praises Kang-ho's throw, and Kang-ho mentions that he wanted to meet Director Song, so he studied to become a prosecutor. Kang-ho agrees to be Song's son, and Song is delighted. Young-sun continues trying to call Kang-ho, assuming he's busy working and feeling proud of him. She cooks all his favorite foods but falls while trying to reach something high. The village chief and his wife help her, though the wife scares her, while the chief wonders why Kang-ho hasn't visited since moving to Seoul. A ballerina named Hae-young, who is dating Kang-ho, also calls him, but he ignores her. Hae-young gets a pedicure from Mi-ju, who works at a salon with her friend Sun-young. Hae-young gets upset and accidentally cuts herself. She kicks Mi-ju, who asks for an apology in return for being kicked. When Hae-young refuses, Mi-ju scares her away with her karate moves, even though her father is a presidential candidate. While Mi-ju enjoys drinks with Sun-young and dreams of opening her own nail salon, her kids call. It turns out she's a single mother to 2 children. Her older sisters are divorced. Her father has disappeared, and her mother pretends Mi-ju is in the USA while she takes care of her kids. Jeon-ja is playing cards with Sung-ae, who prays for Sam-sik, who is in prison but will be released soon. Young-sun arrives with food, making Jeon-ja jealous. Young-sun reveals it's Kang-ho's birthday and she's visiting him. Jeon-ja realizes she forgot Mi-ju's birthday and calls her to scold her, then sends her some money. Young-sun arrives in Seoul, but Kang-ho pretends not to be home. She leaves the food with the security guard and asks about Kang-ho. She also gives her phone number in case he needs help. The security guard is moved by her caring nature. Young-sun limps back to her car and has a choco pie for dinner. Inside, Kang-ho watches the news and learns that Hae-young's father is leading by a large margin in the election. And it turns out to be prosecutor Oh Ta-soo. In a flashback, Kang-ho remembers attending a conference where Oh talks about the qualities prosecutors should have. After the talk, Kang-ho is introduced to him as an alumnus and admires Oh's work. As he's leaving, Oh senses something familiar about Kang-ho. Kang-ho is about to reveal that his father knows Oh, but Hae-young interrupts them. Kang-ho targets Hae-young at a club, pretending to search for drugs because she has medicine for her panic disorder. He even cuts her bag to check if she's hiding something. Hae-young gets angry and slaps him after he finds nothing, for which he apologizes. She later apologizes for hitting him, hoping he won't tell her father about her detainment. A few days later, he shows up at the family's charity event and gives her a plain tote bag to avoid flaunting her wealth for the sake of Oh's campaign. He also gives her a juju plant for her disorder, which touches her, and they start dating. She introduces him to Oh Ta-soo, but after she leaves, the former prosecutor threatens Kang-ho. Oh finds him suspicious and says he plans to marry Hae-young into a wealthy family, so Kang-ho should break up with her in a week. She visits Kang-ho's house, and he is cold, telling her not to mess up his plan, which confuses her. It's revealed that Kang-ho had a paternity test done, showing that Hwang Soo-hyun's newborn baby, Song's secretary, is actually Oh Ta-soo's child. Kang-ho tells Song, who is excited at the idea of controlling the future president. However, Song notices that Kang-ho has given him a copy of the paternity test, not the original. Kang-ho says he wants to be Song's legal son so he can marry Hae-young and prevent Ta-soo from betraying Song. Director Song warns Ta-soo not to interfere with Kang-ho as he is now his son. Ta-soo reluctantly agrees on the condition that Kang-ho destroys all evidence. The story then shifts to Kang-ho drugging Soo-hyun's drink and telling her that he's taking her and her child somewhere safe. After some time, he pushes the car into a river and informs To-soo that the problem has been taken care of. Elsewhere, Maiju opens her own nail salon in Seoul with her friend Sun-young. Meanwhile, back in Juri village, the locals are busy cooking for a big celebration. Sunny is annoyed because they're helping Young-soon prepare a feast for Kang-ho, who is visiting with his fiancée. Sunny grumbles about why she should help, as Kang-ho has never done anything for the village. It's revealed that when Sam-sik got caught stealing, he begged Kang-ho for help, but Kang-ho never did. However, Young-soon plans to ask Kang-ho to help Sam-sik find a job once he's released from prison. Sunny is moved by this and helps cook Kang-ho's favorite pancakes and even styles Young-soon's hair. She and Jung-ja are amazed when Young-soon buys diamond jewelry for Hae-young. But when the young couple arrives, it's chaotic, with the villagers being overly cheerful and loud, making Hae-young and Kang-ho uncomfortable. They also notice that the price tag is still on Young-soon's clothes. They usher her into a room, and when Young-soon tries to give the jewelry set to Kang-ho, he asks Hae-young to leave. Alone, he hands his mother the adoption paper, making him Song's legal son, and tells her to sign it. She's confused and then tearful as she tries to understand. Still, she's willing to sign if it makes him happy, saying the paper won't change that she's his mother. Kang-ho is determined, and the moment she signs it, he rushes out. She tries to stop him, offer him food and the jewelry, but he refuses. Kang-ho points out that he never had a chance to have a good meal with her, and she resigns to her fate. He removes all the luxury items from the car he had brought as gifts, and gets ready to leave. She quickly takes some pancakes and places them in the backseat before he drives away, leaving the rest of the villagers shocked by what just happened. Hae-young is annoyed by the smell of the pancakes and hopes it won't affect her clothes. Frustrated, Kang-ho stops the car halfway and throws away the food. He looks exhausted, and Hae-young offers to drive. He takes a sip of water and goes to sleep, and she opens the car window while driving. Her scarf flies out, and she stops by a cliff to retrieve it. As she returns to the car, a truck crashes into it, sending it over the cliff with a still sleeping Kang-ho inside. Subscribe so that I can continue this story and make the next part. Thanks for watching.